kind of in the mode, but yeah, so that then we can sort of sit up for her, okay? But first off, let me share that we're so excited, and actually, I always want to cry when I start to say these things. We're so excited because we have another assistant, so administrative assistant. Yay. So all of you met Grace last time. Grace is in group 5. She's definitely halfway done with the program, and she is joining us. So you will, I don't know, you will see her. She's in the learning mode today and tomorrow around how to run everything and do everything. So sometimes you're going to get emails from Jillian, and sometimes you're going to get emails from Grace. So don't be surprised, and you'll have, you know, you can, it's all of us. It's definitely the 3 of us that will answer emails and stuff, but mostly those 2. So I'm super excited to have Grace with
Me
us.
too.
Yes.
We looked at last time.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't that just mean that the Institute is growing?
It sure
The
does.
Institute is growing, and it's awesome. And that you're telling everybody you know that they have to come up to Tulsa or come down or come across to Tulsa to come and do this training, because it's just something else. Okay, that's one thing. Now, we will talk about the rest of the other thing. We're gonna, after I do the baby, we'll talk about the date change. That's September. I mean, I personally don't care that it's Labor Day. So we should first get a consensus on whether you care that it's Labor Day and that we move it, okay? So we'll get that consensus first, and then secondly, we'll try to figure out the time when we can, okay? We'll definitely try to figure out.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. There is a seat over there. All righty.
Oklahoma City was further away this morning.
I know, they keep moving Oklahoma City. The only problem is that there's other people from Oklahoma City. That's just a little funny thing. No, I know, I get it, I totally get it. Okay, working on children and babies, okay? So first of all, there are gonna be times when I'm gonna work on somebody in front of you. And the good part about me doing that is that, especially when it's adults, so that you actually get what a treatment is like and what the kind of flow happens, at least for me, right, in a treatment. So you'll see me do that. Often I don't get a chance. This is, I would say it's a newborn, so the baby's about a month old. I have worked on this woman. I've worked on her children, prior children, so she's not new to this at all. But your job is this. When I'm working on somebody, and especially a child, is you keep your energy back. Remember how we did the whole thing with the cranial work and how we took our energy back? I'm going to ask you to do that. I'm going to ask you to really take your energy back, okay? And now, babies cry. So one thing I need you to not be is worried that I'm hurting this baby. So don't be, oh, or anything like that. So the mom won't go there because she already knows about all this. Is that you need to know that all I'm doing is helping this baby. And a lot of times when you put your hands on, it highlights for the baby, it highlights what it is they have going on. Okay? So that's what happens, you know. So when I work on children as newborns, I'm especially interested in making sure that their stomach is open, their valves are open, that a lot of times what happens is that their respiratory diaphragm is too high so that they don't look like this. I'm interested in whether they have a neck. I'm interested in whether they can turn their heads to both sides. Okay, so these are the things I'm interested in. I'm also interested in if they're laying down, do they have like a curve in their body? Do their legs go one way and their top go another? And you'll see me look at all this and I'll be saying it to you, okay? I also have a way of doing something with babies that was shown to me many, many, many years ago, not me personally, was shown in a class as a like, oh, I just kind of do this. But I always do this to a young baby and to a newborn, is when you're in the womb, you're at the end, it's like tight, man. It's tight for all of us, right? You're bigger and you're tighter, and babies are getting bigger only because food is crappy. That's why babies are getting to be so big. And, you know, these 10, 11 pounders and stuff like that, that's all about what you're eating while you're pregnant. So anyway, but it's tight. So I'm in a side bend some way, or I'm something, okay? So one of the deals is we want to take that pattern out, okay? So I do it by actually giving a little bit of axial being the whole length of the spine is axial, compression. Really gently, you'll see me do that. I'll hold the head, I'll hold the bottom, and I'm going to give a little bit of compression, and I'm going to take the baby into their pre-birth position. So I'm going to wait for their body to go ahead and let that go, okay? So we're going to do that, I'm going to do that, and you know, when you're side bend, it oftentimes makes that lung be stuck and contracted. It also will put you onto your liver, which oftentimes is why babies have jaundice, is because they're in the position of side bend on the liver. When they're side bend on the liver like that, the liver cannot actually drain. And I've had jaundice babies, and I open up the liver, do that move, open up the liver, and the jaundice leaves within an hour, okay? So we're going to make sure that all the parts are functioning, and whether the hips are right and the legs, and I do a really easy move that you'll be learning in the pediatric class. But one of the other things I really do is I want to make sure how they're sucking. So I want to know sucking, I want to know, you know, and so sucking is often a problem because the palate is either too low or too high. So either way, I do the same thing. Actually, it's weird. I do the same thing. I either push the palate up or I push into the palate to widen it out. So I'm making sure of those things are functional. Today is, would you, I think today's the day I'm working on the baby. Isn't
Yes,
it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yes.
I thought it was, yeah. Oh,
Yep,
oh,
today,
gosh,
yeah.
I think so. I don't know, I don't schedule anymore, so it's not me doing that. So anyway, I'm trying to think what else. And when you do cranial on a baby or a child until the age of 7, whatever you're doing is direct. So the indirect sort of idea that you're floating things on a baby is not so. You feel a baby's head and I feel that the frontal bone is somewhere else, then I got to put that frontal bone back. You feel that the occiput is high, you take that occiput down. You're doing direct on a baby, on children, and especially a baby. Nothing ever goes in. You never do anything in, you do everything as a movement or a floating. I have a way of holding things and kind of molding, floating together. But you'll know more about that in the pediatric class, okay? Okay? Anybody have any questions or anything? Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
curious, and we'll learn this in the pediatric class, but when you're working cranial on a baby,
Yeah.
does that mean that you can adjust and, I don't want to say fix, but you know, alter the babies that wear helmets?
Oh, okay, so the babies that wear helmets, which you will learn in the pediatric class, that is called plagiocephaly, and that's where your nice oval head, instead of being a nice oval, is a parallelogram, okay? Where the bones all went like that. So what they have is a prominent one side of the face, they have a flat one back of the head, so I'm prominent here, I'm flat on the back side, you know, you definitely can see that. And here's my thinking about plagiocephaly. You will, when the mom comes, grab a chair for her? Okay, thank you. And so, so with plagiocephaly, it's the shape of the mom's pelvis. So if I have a pelvis that one side's anterior, you're going to learn this, one side's anterior, one side's posterior, it creates a this, okay? So it creates a this. And when you get that created, you get that head that gets taken into that position. Now my thing is that we can definitely work with that, and I have definitely helped that. The problem with wearing a helmet for me is like, so I got to get the whole thinking of this out, is that my contents are in that shape too. But a helmet doesn't move the contents, it only does the bones. So what happens is that I have two things going against each other, which is where you come in, or we come in, okay? We come in to actually help the contents come back and start to match the bones they're moving, okay? So yes, you can help that, and especially help it if they don't do a helmet. Do you know what I mean? But you can help it. You can help it. But you may also get to a place where, and this is the same thing, because in your class like Grace's next class next week, there's TMJ and all that kind of stuff is gonna go on. We're gonna teach you how to widen the palate and open the mouth and move the hard palate and do many things that are like, shit, it's it's really, really, stuff you don't even know that you can do, is that, but, so I'm saying that because it's like, you can do a tremendous amount to get it so children don't have to wear braces. Tremendous amount. Or you can have it where it's so bad that you do this and you reduce the length of time and the severity of what they have to do. So it's the same thing with the plagiocephaly. You can create an openness and a more softening that allows the body to be moved by the helmet really quickly. And so that they're not in the helmet as long. You see where I'm, like how I'm thinking about this? Is like what you're doing is reducing the amount of time you have to have medical, and the severity of the medical intervention. So you can't always make it so a child doesn't have braces. But what you end up doing is making it so that they're much, it's much shorter and freer, okay? So you guys get that?
Yes.
Okay. Let me lock my table.
Speaking of, how are Owen and Wyatt doing? Hey, Andrea, speaking of, how are they doing?
Okay.
Wow.
Very push out further. When do you want to move? Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
So while we're waiting for it, we'll talk about a couple things.
Deal right now too. It's just do what we can do.
You guys share your little things. Yes, I am.